Welcome in to the very first Rockies Insider podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Lyons. You might remember me from a lot of other Rockies podcasts that I've been a part of in the recent past. Even this week, had a good time joining Blake Street Banner and Rocky Mountain Rooftop. Love everybody in the Rockies community. Thank you so much for joining me here early today. We got a lot to cover. I feel like I've got an hour's worth of content, and I'm going to do it in about 25 minutes. That's the one thing I guarantee here at Rockies Insider is not just access to the Rockies clubhouse, the dugout, the field, everything going on in the world of the Colorado Rockies, but I'm going to boil it all down to 25 minutes, at least 5 days a week. I'm going to have guests on. You can expect a lot of the stuff that you saw with my previous employer over at DNVR. We're going to have a lot of fun today. We're going to get to some general news and notes about the Rockies. I'll talk about the Padres series. Take a minute for the minor league minute, what to expect this week for the Colorado Rockies. We got an off day today, but a lot coming down the pike at Coors Field this week. But we have to start it off with the guy that deserves the most attention right now in the world of the Colorado Rockies, and that is the National League Player of the Month, Brenton Doyle. The chat is already popping off. Christian, thank you. Yes, the farm system is super strong. I plan on talking about that a lot more on Wednesday's show. We're going to have Aaron from Blake Street Banner on. Scott, thanks for the shout out. Matthew, counting down the minutes until we go live. But Brenton Doyle, I mean, there's a serious conversation right now about, is this guy going to be a multi-time all-star? The flip side of the coin is, was it just a really good month? The quick answer is no. This wasn't just a really good month of July for Brenton Doyle. This is a player who made swing adjustments during the offseason and didn't have an early start to his 2023, his rookie campaign before he got called up. Had an injury, collided with a wall, which he tends to do a lot. The wall usually ends up in much worse condition than he does, but got injured down in AAA Albuquerque, got called up, and really had to learn on the fly about how to deal with major league pitching. The glove was there. Gold Glove Award winner in his rookie campaign, first rookie center field player to win a Gold Glove Award in the National League ever. Like, that's the kind of player he is defensively. So offensively, he needed to make big strides, and he absolutely has done that all year long. Very close to reaching 20 homers and 20 stolen bases. But Doyle winning the award a couple days ago, only the 12th Rocky to ever win the Player of the Month award, 22nd time. Most recent was CJ Cron back in August of 2021. Had an 800 slugging percentage, was 30 for 90, so a nice 333 batting average. His 19 extra base hits led the majors. His 11 home runs tied for the most with the Athletics DH Brent Rooker. Also led the National League in total bases. Fourth Rocky all-time, and the first since Preston Wilson in 2003. We're going back 21 years ago to finish the month of July with 30 hits, 11 homers, and at least 25 RBI. Why is that important for July? There's 4 days off in the middle of the month for the All-Star break. So not only do you have 4 less bites at the apple, 4 less games to play, but you're just doing nothing. You're sitting around relaxing, which is a good thing. It's important, but you're not staying in that daily routine, that daily grind that really can benefit a lot of ball players. Doyle did not have that yet. He stayed incredibly hot. So he deserves that award. He went and was the player of the week to start the month of July. And what he did in those 8 games, because there's a doubleheader in there, he went 15 for 27 over a 9-game stretch. Had 5 doubles, 6 homers, stolen base. He joined an elite group that is all Hall of Famers. Larry Walker, Reggie Jackson, Willie Mays, Lou Gehrig, and Babe Ruth are the only players to put up that combination of batting average, hitting for power, stealing bases as well. So incredible work really by Brenton Doyle, who continues to shine, continues to be one of the biggest and brightest spots for the Rockies in what will probably be another 100-loss season. Now, Doyle was also named the Rockies 2024 Heart and Hustle Award winner. This is an award that goes out for the MLB Players Association. They give it to an active player on all 30 teams. There's going to be a winner that's announced here in a couple months, but Doyle is the Rockies recipient because he best embodies those values, spirit, and traditions of the game. So gives back to the community. Brenton Doyle, great guy. As I mentioned, 11 home runs in the month of July. Who else has 11 or more home runs in a single month in 2024? How about Aaron Judge? He's done that twice. How about Shohei Ohtani? Again, Brenton Doyle is in a pretty special class based off of the month he had. Also going back to the early parts of July 1st through 3rd, those 3 games, he became only the 3rd player in the modern era, so since 1901, to have 3 doubles, 3 home runs, and a stolen base in the first 3 games of any month since Jeff Kent in June of 2000 and Larry Walker in 1997. So again, doing some very historic things. And he could continue to do that because, I want to talk about his Gold Glove Award potential coming up in a second. I want to give you a little history of the Player of the Month award for the Rockies because it's a who's who list. If you think of the greatest Rockies of all time, we're talking like the most elite players that have ever played for Colorado. Virtually all of them have won the Player of the Month award. And if you're not one of the elites, you didn't win the award. Andres Galarraga, he won that award twice for Player of the Month in the NL. Ellis Burks, another part of the Blake Street Bombers. Dante Bichette, 3-time winner. Larry Walker, Hall of Famer, 2-time winner. Todd Helton, Hall of Famer. That does not get old saying. That is still a sweet sentence. Todd Helton, Hall of Famer. He won the NL Player of the Month award 4 times. Matt Holliday did it once. Troy Tulowitzki twice. Carlos Gonzalez. Nolan Arenado twice. Charlie Blackmon twice. And yes, CJ Cron. 3 years, great stretch with the Rockies. You might not think of him exactly as being a true Colorado Rocky, but still, nonetheless, Brenton Doyle is on that list. He enters the pantheon of all-time greatest months in Rockies history. Comment here by the sideline crowd. Our good buddy, Skylar Timmons. People forget how great Preston Wilson was in a Rocks uniform. Absolutely. Preston Wilson coming over in the Mike Hampton trade. That was kind of a win-win, maybe more of a win for the Rockies in general, just getting rid of a contract that they didn't like. But Charles Johnson played incredibly well for the Colorado Rockies. Johnson, one of only 2 Rockies catchers to ever make a Hall of Fame ballot. Charles Johnson, Sandy Alomar Jr. You probably don't remember that. He was around for about 2 months. Charles Johnson more so. Okay, yeah, had a really great career, mostly with the Florida Marlins at that time. So yeah, Preston Wilson, don't sleep on him. Kind of a sneaky fan favorite in many ways. Here's the thing about what Brenton Doyle was able to do this past month. Now, he's 26 years old, so maybe he's a little bit younger than you might think of a second-year player, of a sophomore. And you say, well, all right, he's not going to have quite as many years to develop into a superstar like an Ezequiel Tovar, who only just turned 23 years old, still growing into his body. And you could say, you know what, in 2 more years from now, he might not hit his ultimate stride. He might not take his full form until 2 more years from now when he starts the year at age 24 and eventually turns 25 later on in that summer. Doyle is already 26, but look at this. Brenton Doyle won this award earlier in his career than any other Rocky. Did it a year and a half into his big league career. Quickest to win the Player of the Month award in the National League. Yes, Brenton Doyle. Nolan Arenado, when he won in September of 2015, that was at the end of his 3rd full season. Or if you want to say, well, he had like 3/4 of a season in 2013, whatever. 3rd full season, right? Troy Tulowitzki, September of 2010, at the end of his 4th full season. Matt Holliday, also young, September of 2007, during that amazing run to Rocktober. That was the end of his 4th full season. And then Todd Helton, when he did it in May of 2000, that was his 3rd full season. Helton debuting in 97, first full year in 1998. So Doyle doing it a lot quicker. And I don't know how many people certainly would have guessed this. Probably not many, especially after he was barely above the Mendoza line last year, right around 200, striking out a ton, showing pop, showing that there was potential in there, but he very much was overmatched. A lot of it having to do, again, that early injury in the season in 2023 and not having a ton of AAA at bats to get ready for a big league season. So doing it quicker than anyone else. Who was the youngest to do it? Well, Todd Helton, also 26 years old when he won that award for the first time. Troy Tulowitzki was 25. The youngest, Nolan Arenado, at age 24. So the Gold Glove Award winner could be in line for his second consecutive Gold Glove Award. Other than that Nolan Arenado guy who won the Gold Glove at third base his first 8 years in Colorado, won it the next 2 in St. Louis, 10 consecutive years to start his career. The last guy to go back-to-back for the Rockies, Carlos Gonzalez, 2012 to 2013. Others to do it, Tulowitzki, 2010, 2011, Helton, 2001 to 2002, and Larry Walker did it in 2 different stints, 97 to 98 and 2001 to 02. So again, a lot on the line here for Brenton Doyle in a good way. If he can win the Gold Glove Award for center field in the National League, he really separates himself into an elite class of Lodo legends. Now, could we be looking at a Platinum Glove Award this year? Not crazy. He does have a lot of work to do. Right now, he is about 8th best in the National League with 9 outs above average. DRS has him in about the same general range. So there's a lot to overcome. Most regarding outs above average in the National League, outfielders Jacob Young, Michael Ciani of the St. Louis Cardinals. So they are probably a notch above Doyle right now. But we know so much about this award has to do with who you are and who you've been. And so when you're coming up as a rookie, it's really hard to break through and get acknowledgement and get acceptance for being a great defender. And Doyle already has 1 Gold Glove under his belt. So that's going to separate him just a bit. And we haven't really seen a young, early player, win the Platinum Glove Award. And I say that to help Doyle's cause because he's at least in his second year, whereas Ciani and Jacob Young, they're a little bit more unknown entities for that. So that's one of those big stories to watch as players are hitting milestones, 20 homers, 20 stolen bases for Brenton Doyle. But also, is he going to continue to play Gold Glove caliber defense? Yes. But how Gold Glove? How special, how unique of a medal are we talking about? Are we talking platinum? Is it going from gold to platinum there? It very well could. It very well could for Brenton Doyle. Now, some general news and notes. Jordan Beck, had that awful hand injury, got a plate put in. When I spoke with him last month, that hand was raised. That plate was very noticeable underneath his skin there. I think the swelling has gone down a little bit, but I imagine it'll still be detectable if you see him walking by at the ballpark one day. But he was activated off the IL, option to AAA, had a mammoth home run in Las Vegas on Sunday night, his second in Vegas this week. So he's been playing well in his rehab assignments. Could see him very soon here up at the majors. Remains to be seen when exactly, because Nolan Jones is also rehabbing right now. He's been with Fresno. He went 2 for 3 with a home run on Saturday. He made a dazzling catch as well. So he's looking really solid. Is there room for both those guys in the outfield? Absolutely. Brenton Doyle's in center, and then the corner outfielders. Again, you're getting a lot of platoon play. From Jake Cave, from Hunter Goodman, Sean Bouchard. Chris Bryant is back and active. He's in right field every now and again. But if you can get Beck, Jones, and Doyle all in the same outfield at the same time, healthy, playing their best baseball, that is one of the top young outfields in all of MLB. Herman Marquez, he threw a bullpen in Anaheim last week. Remember, he had that one start after coming off the IL just before the All-Star break, coming back from Tommy John surgery. They've shut him down, so we might not see him again, but did a nice job in that bullpen in Anaheim. We'll catch up with Bud Black this week at the ballpark as Mets and Atlanta come to town. More rehab-a-palooza. Lucas Gilbreth pitched 1 2/3 scoreless innings for AAA Albuquerque on Saturday. He's been scoreless in 2 rehab appearances with the Isotopes, has allowed 3 runs in 5 rehab appearances overall. Really close to returning. I think we'll see him at the ballpark this week. Antonio Senzatella also threw a bullpen, actually a little bit better than a bullpen. He threw a simulated game on Saturday. And again, we should know soon the timetable for him. What's going to be the next step? Logically, it's going to be a rehab assignment. Probably going to need about 5 starts. That's what you saw out of Herman Marquez. You're going to need about 5 starts to really build him up. In spring training, you usually see guys go 5, 6 starts to get themselves ready to go 6 innings, to go 80, 85, 90 pitches. Even 90 is probably a bit too much. So remains to be seen if Antonio Senzatella is going to be back at some point this season. But you got to cross your fingers and hope it allows him to have a little bit of a normal off season so that he can come back in 2025 and be the pitcher that, you know, a lot of people have expected him to be, that number 3, number 4 guy, reliable arm in the Rockies rotation. Zach Veen, no news is usually good news, not necessarily for Veen. He's missed a lot of time. He missed 5.5 weeks in May and June already this year. It's still a little bit unknown how much time he's going to miss with his right thumb injury. So still kind of stuck in AA limbo a little bit. A guy that has seen Jordan Beck pass him on the prospect rankings and even in the Rockies rankings, right? Beck made his debut this year. Ezequiel Fernandez, we're good timing here, right? In the chat, Tim asking, how is Ezequiel Fernandez in the field? Only seen hitting highlights, but 969 in the field with Hartford. Seems solid. Well, Ezequiel Fernandez, another guy who's passed Zach Veen in the prospect rankings, also passes him in AA. He's going to be promoted to AAA starting on Tuesday. Ezequiel Fernandez, a guy who has an absolute cannon. You've seen Brenton Doyle throw. You've seen Nolan Jones throw. Ezequiel Fernandez is in that same class of player. The dude can get it up there. I think he can touch 100 from the outfield. Now, he's definitely more of a bat first player than a glove first player. So Rockies have a bit of a crunch in the outfield with guys that are pushing and pressing for playing time. That's something we're going to have to talk a lot about this offseason, and a lot we're going to find out about over the next 2 months as the Rockies wind down their 2024 campaign. So Ezequiel Fernandez definitely going to be a part of that conversation. Might even see him debut this year. He's already on the 40-man roster, so it's a much easier move logistically. Ezequiel Fernandez debuting with the Rockies this year, as of right now, yes, I think we will see him in Denver at some point. Also, news for injuries. He's not on the IL just yet. He's been somewhat day-to-day. Charlie Blackmon, he was removed Friday night when he was hit in the eye. Ball kind of hit off of his shoulder a little bit, ricocheted right into his left eye. An errant throw by Xander Bogaerts kind of swole up his eye just a little bit. Blackmon told MLB.com, no concussion, no fracture. I'm fine, just a little bit sore. You saw immediately, if you've seen photographs, I think Kelsey Wingert did a nice job of getting a photograph out there, how Charlie's eye was just swollen up a little bit there, making it hard to see. Also, in minor league, since we're touching on some of those guys, Carson Palmquist made his AAA debut in Las Vegas over the weekend. 6 runs on 7 hits, 5 walks, 3 strikeouts, 3 2/3 innings pitched. It's the Pacific Coast League. It's a difficult league to pitch in. Very challenging, probably even more so than pitching up at the majors. But if you look at what Carson Palmquist did at AA with the Hartford Yard Goats, he went 6-4 with a 3.20 ERA, 111 strikeouts in 17 starts. So him, Chase Dollander, they got pitchers coming up the pipeline. Do they have room for them in the rotation? Again, these are some of the conversations we're going to be having here on Rockies Insider over the next 2 months and during the entire offseason as the Rockies try to remodel, rebuild, much better word, and get themselves back to Rocktober and back to relevance. Sean Sullivan, everyone's moving up here in the second half. Sean Sullivan pitched incredibly alongside Chase Dollander with Spokane. He finally made his AA debut with Hartford on Saturday. 4 scoreless innings, 3 hits, 2 strikeouts. Sullivan has been a steal in that 2023 draft class coming behind Chase Dollander. The left-hander was 7-2 with a 2.16 ERA, 101 strikeouts in only 14 starts with High A Spokane. He's been great. Jack Mahoney, he got bumped up to High A Spokane, earned a win, did a really nice job across 6 innings pitched. And then it was Isaiah Coupe, Low A Fresno, California League Pitcher of the Week for the previous week, had 5 scoreless, hitless innings, striking out 8. Another one of those quality arms that the Rockies picked up in that 2023 draft class. Well, let's get to the weekend. Let's get to this road trip that did not get started off terribly well. 0-4 in San Francisco over 3 days, but the Rockies salvaged the road trip just a little bit, going 3-3, winning 3 games in a row. At one point, Ezequiel Tovar began to heat up, right? He was 0-for-30 and then turned around and had a 17-game hit streak, longest for the Rockies since Brendan Rodgers in 2022. An unlikely hit streak. As I said, he was 0-for-30 and got a single, got himself going in the right direction. Per Elias Sports Bureau, Tovar became the first player since Hall of Famer Joe Morgan in 1971 to have a hitless streak of at least, have a hitting streak of at least 16 games immediately following a stretch of 0-for-28 or more. So excellent job by this young man. Also becomes the first Rockies player since Charlie Blackmon in 2019 to have at least 31 hits and 6 home runs over any 17-game span. 7th all-time to do it with the Rockies. Cargo, Larry Walker, Todd Helton, Dante Bichette, Andres Galarraga. Incredible, right? Incredible. We try to evaluate players, and a lot of the metrics do not favor those who play at Coors Field. It's really hard to contextualize players. We know how hard it is to really give credit to players who go at hitting at altitude and see off-speed pitches look one way and then go down to sea level and see them move a completely different way. We've got no metrics to really base the success of a Rockies player, pitcher or hitter. They're good. They're not great. I think one of the best metrics is comparing Rockies to Rockies. And any time you've got a young player like an Ezequiel Tovar doing things in the same class as players like Carlos Gonzalez, Larry Walker, Helton, Bichette, Andres Galarraga, that's when you know you've got a very special player. On Sunday, yesterday, 10-2 loss. Cal Quantrill, not terribly sharp. 3 walks, removed in the 5th after 88 pitches. We saw Doyle homer again to stay hot in the month of August. Jacob Stallings homer off of Adrian Morejon. Not sure if Morejon owes him money or something, but Jacob Stallings, the revenge tour has been incredible to see. He homered on Saturday against his former teammate Tanner Scott, who was just acquired at the trade deadline. Padres giving a lot to the Marlins to acquire Tanner Scott. Stallings homered off him. Stallings had already dominated against the Pirates and the Marlins, homering against them, his 2 former teams. So do not get on Jacob Stallings' bad side. That's for sure. They did have a chance to win that series on Sunday, taking that first game on Friday, losing on Saturday. In general, the Rockies have played the Padres incredibly well and have definitely been a thorn in the Padres side. And I think that's nice for a lot of Rockies fans who have seen Padres Twitter and Padres fans, get very boisterous over the last couple of years, despite the fact that they haven't quite had the on-field success as the players that are on their baseball reference page or on their 40-man, 26-man roster might suggest. They're great on paper, but they haven't really been able to link those guys together, build that chemistry, have success. Friday was the win in the Padres series. Gomber, quite good. 7 innings pitched, only gave up 2 runs. Rogers, a triple shy of the cycle. And Victor Vodnik, one of the big bright spots for the second half for the Rockies. You talk about young players you want to keep your eye on. Relievers. It's hard to say you can be excited about a Rockies reliever even when they're playing well, but Victor Vodnik has been that guy, throwing 100 miles an hour. Now has 5 saves this season, 4 just in the month of July. He gets his 5th save on Friday night. Most saves among NL rookie relievers. 17 consecutive appearances with a strikeout. How special is that? Well, for Rockies relievers, very special. It's tied for the 4th longest streak players that have longer streaks are, again, all-time Rockies relievers in terms of success. Adam Ottavino, Scott Oberg, Brian Fuentes, and now Victor Vodnik right behind them. 17 consecutive appearances with a strikeout. This week, he'll get a chance to tie Oberg and Fuentes, and maybe by the end of this trip, take the top spot from Adam Ottavino. We also had another bonkers catch from Brenton Doyle. You can see that clip and more over at Patrick D. Lyons on Twitter/X, at Rockies_insider. We've got it covered from every angle. That catch was incredible. Robbed a home run of his former teammate, Jurickson Profar. Great call as well by Drew Goodman on that one. Tanner Gordon looked solid in that loss on Saturday, 3-2 loss. Bud Black saying after the game, Tanner Gordon is going to be in the conversation for a spot in the rotation next year in 2025. He goes 6 innings, only gives up 1 hit, 1 run. Had a perfect game / no-hitter going into the 5th inning before that was broken up by Xander Bogaerts. So incredible job by Tanner Gordon on Saturday. That game was 1 hour, 59 minutes. Quickest game this season. So if you're watching SummerSlam, like I was with another Rockies insider, Kevin Henry, you had to question, hey, were the Padres and Rockies, were they trying to get back for the Cody Rhodes Solo Sikoa main event for SummerSlam? I don't know. I do know that 5 of the 7 quickest games the Rockies have played this year have all been on Saturdays. Is that a coincidence? Actually, yes, because you go back and look, and that is not a trend, just a coincidence. But definitely thought that was interesting. Before I get out of here, I do got to hit some Rockies history because I love history. And that's something I'm going to be bringing to the table here on Rockies Insider. On this date in Rockies history, relief pitcher John Wasden was born. He was on the 2000-2001 team. I know there's at least one person out there right now who has a really good John Wasden story out there, and maybe only one. So if you're that person, congrats. I do want to hear from you. Jump in on YouTube, Rockies Insider. You could leave a comment in the chat, or again, reach out to us on social media at Patrick D. Lyons, at Rockies_insider. In 1995, think about this one. Dodgers beat the Giants 3-0, 1-hitter by Hideo Nomo. Royce Clayton had the only hit for the Giants. But that win allowed LA to keep pace with the division-leading Colorado Rockies. That's right, Rockies 3.5 games ahead of the Dodgers on August 5th in 1995. Yeah, Dodgers were looking up at the Rockies then. And 10 years ago to today, Javier Baez making his major league debut, homered in the 12th inning against lefty Boone Logan at Coors Field. So good for Baez, not so good for Boone Logan. Again, so many of you have great Rockies memories, and I want to hear from you. There are people who were at that game that remember that game vividly. I hope you remember me vividly, because Rockies Insider, I'm delighted to bring this to you now many days a week, not just 5 days, more than that, many days a week. Listen to me, listen to my guests each and every week, anywhere you can find podcasts. Got to give a big shout out and a big appreciation to Just Baseball, who were integral in launching this. Jack McMullen, Ryan Finkelstein, giving me a ton of support, as well as the dudes over at Blake Street Banner, Aaron, Lewis, those guys doing an amazing job on graphics. I would not be able to get this show off the ground, launch this, be able to bring you such great inside coverage of the Colorado Rockies many days a week without Just Baseball and without Blake Street Banner. So got to give a ton of appreciation. So again, expect more of this, 20 to 25 minutes. I'm going to have guests on tomorrow. In fact, Ryan Finkelstein is going to help preview the Mets series. Mets coming to town 4-3. Grimace versus Dinger, round 2. Here we go. Then Atlanta comes to town, 4-3 games. A lot of good promotional giveaways if you're coming out to the ballpark for those. We'll talk about that later in the week. I think Aaron's going to drop by from Blake Street Banner. Excited to talk Rockies prospects with him. Few in the world know more about the Rockies prospects than Aaron from Blake Street Banner. So super excited for everything coming down the pike. Appreciate you listening to this first episode. Please leave a review. Please leave a comment. it's we're going to build something here, and I definitely need your help. And I appreciate all the love and support on social media already up to this point. So thanks for joining in. I promise to have a great catchphrase as we go away, but I just wanted to make sure I had my ducks in a row. We could go live on StreamYard, that we were good on YouTube. That's where I was focused, not a little spiel at the end. So tune in tomorrow where you may get a catchphrase as I sign off. Thanks for your